Can you tell us how to find courage and show up for yourself?
To have courage to show up for yourself, then you've actually got to be brave enough to ask yourself some questions. You have to be brave enough to stop and really check in with what it is that you're doing and whether everything that you're doing on all of the different conveyor belts of life, whether that's truly making you happy. And if it is, brilliant. But if it's not, then you have to have the courage to then maybe stop, get off said conveyor belts and question where you are. And when you do that, my word, the world is possible. It's full of loads of different things. That's how I think you can really find the courage to look up who you are.
I was wondering because I remember some comedians were complaining about the fact that whenever they meet some strangers, they are always asked, can you tell me a joke?
Is a bit of a thing, because if you do say that, sort of comedy, so I do improvising as well, and I've done, my theatre shows are theatre comedy, so I tell stories and make people laugh. Do I feel that pressure, like when I was on a date and things like that and going dating to make people laugh? It is a little bit odd when you're trying to meet somebody just as a human to a human and they go, oh, so you're funny, what's your best joke? And I'm like, I don't actually tell jokes, I tell stories. And so there is a bit of a weird thing, because it's like if you meet a plumber, you're not going to go, oh, hi, you're a plumber, can you mend my tap? It's not the first thing that you instantly say. But the whole thing is, at my heart, I am naturally, I'd like to think, sort of a fun and kind of energetic being. So hopefully if you spend a bit of time with me, we will naturally just giggle a bit, because, that's got to be the light, right? There's laughter workshops, there's laughter yoga. And if you're thinking, what a ridiculous idea, because I don't know what I'm going to laugh about, it is contagious. It's a bit like yawning. So you will literally be lying there and then somebody will start to chuckle and you'll just be like, and then before you know it, you're like, I don't know why I'm laughing. And you will genuinely spend about 40 odd minutes laughing, and it is in your body and you giggle, and it is the most, and because laughter has rhythms. If you think about any comedy show, you can't laugh out loud for the whole time because it would just be too exhausting. And that's the same thing when you do laughter workshops. It is brilliant because you will just literally have this whole journey of laughter, and you leave and it feels like it's one of the most cathartic things I think I've ever done. So if you've got it, wherever you're watching the world, Google laughter workshop. And weirdly, they do work online as well, which in these COVID times is quite a useful thing, right?
I know, laughing yoga or workshop or whatever tickles your fancy. Of course, it's not going to work every time. What are some of the techniques that help you generate the positive mood that you need?
I guess with a positive mood, there's some really key things that I've really learned. First one is really about my own sense of self-care. So I know this sounds really daft, but I think especially those of us, we all run businesses. And actually, when we run businesses, then we've got families, and we've got friends, everything like that, quite often our own sense of self-care can be quite low. And actually, one of the things that I think is really important in order to be in a good place, both mentally and physically and spiritually, you've got to look after yourself. You've got to have really good self-care. So I've worked really hard on my self-care practices. So, sort of exercising, meditating, writing, yes, having a team M around me of like a therapist, a massage person. So those things are super important. I also think, honestly, I'm very prudent and I'm very proactive with how I choose to live my life, because as entrepreneurs, we get to choose what goes on in our diary, not the other way around. So for me, it's about being proactive in terms of, right, okay, here's a creative day, here's a admin bit of my time, and I really needed that structure so that I could then fly. There's no way I would write a show, write a book, do a podcast if I didn't have that. So I kind of get to look at my diary and just go, woohoo, because I'm like, brilliant, that day I'm doing that, and then this day I'm doing that. So in essence, I think in order to kind of be coming from a really good place, it's just about making sure that you've set yourself up your whole life, not just your work, but your whole life. So you're fueling you. And I've got this thing that I talk about in my book called the Rainbow Diary, which is in essence a very simple color coding system, which enables my whole life to make sure that I'm doing the things that make my heart sing. And then that just enables me to 95% of the time be a pretty happy little human being, which is good. I am little, by the way. I'm 5'2.5". So I really am short.